The discovery, the red dust of Mars, swirled around Jiwon Kim's boots as he walked through the crash site. His scanner beeped slowly in his hand. Metal here, broken circuits there. Nothing special. Just another boring day of salvage work on the outer rim of Mars colony, station Beta-7. Jiwon wiped sweat from his forehead. The morning sun made the red rocks shimmer like fire. He had been doing this job for 5 years now. Find crashed ships, take useful parts, sell them back at the station. It was not exciting work, but it paid well enough for a single man living alone. His scanner beeped faster. Something big was buried under a pile of twisted metal. Jiwon pushed aside broken panels and melted wires. His hands stopped moving. His breath caught in his throat. There curled up in a small space between two metal beams. It was a child. She could not be older than 6 years old. Her skin was pale violet, like the color of Earth's morning sky. Her hair was silver and seemed to glow. In the dim light, when she looked up at him, her eyes were like tiny stars, bright and luminous. The child was shaking. In her small hands, she held something close to her chest, a pendant that sparkled like crystal. Her clothes were torn and dirty. She had cuts on her arms and legs. "Hey," Jiwon whispered, knelt down slowly, trying not to scare her. "It's okay. You're safe now." The child flinched but did not run. She stared at him with those strange, beautiful eyes. Jiwon had never seen anything like her before. She was clearly not human, but she was just a little girl. A hurt, scared little girl. "Are you alone?" he asked gently. "Where are your parents?" The child did not answer. Maybe she did not understand his words. Maybe she was too scared to speak. Jiwon looked around the crash site. The ship was completely destroyed. No one else could have survived this. His heart broke looking at her. This tiny being had lost everything. Her family, her home, her whole world was gone. "I'm going to help you," Jiwon said softly. He took off his work jacket and wrapped it around her small shoulders. "My name's Jiwon. What's your name?" The child just stared at him. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. She was in shock. Jiwon carefully lifted her in his arms. She weighed almost nothing. Her body was warm, but she felt fragile, like she might break. The pendant in her hands pressed against his chest. "Let's get you somewhere safe," he whispered. Back at the station, the medical bay was busy. Dr. Park, the colony's doctor, examined the child with gentle hands. Her species was unknown. Her blood was different from human blood. Her heart beat faster than normal. But she was alive, and that was what mattered. "She's malnourished," Dr. Park told Jiwon. Probably hasn't eaten in days. But she'll recover. Her body is strong." Jiwon sat beside the medical bed. The child's eyes followed him everywhere. When he tried to leave, she made a small sound of distress. So he stayed. "We need to contact the Galactic Council," Dr. Park said. "They'll know what to do with her." But Jiwon shook his head. "Not yet. Let her recover first. She's been through enough." Days passed. The child slowly began to trust Jiwon. She would eat. When he brought her food, she would sleep when he sat beside her bed. She still did not speak, but she watched him with curious eyes. Jiwon brought her pictures of Earth. He showed her images of trees and oceans and animals. Her eyes grew wide with wonder. He taught her simple words in Korean. Water was Mol. Food was Bob. Safe was Anjung. One morning she pointed at herself and made a sound. "Nara." "Nara," Jiwon repeated. "Is that your name?" The child, Nara, nodded. It was the first time she had tried to communicate. "Nara," Jiwon said with a smile. "That's a beautiful name." Over the following weeks, Nara began to heal. Her cuts disappeared. Her strength returned. She learned more. Words. She even smiled sometimes, though it was rare. The Galactic Council sent investigators. They searched through databases of missing persons. They analyzed the crash site. They studied Nara's pendant with advanced scanners. But they found nothing. No records of her species. No missing child reports. No identification of the crashed ship. "She's officially unclaimed," the council representative told Jiwon. Wish to adopt her? You can file the paperwork. Jiwon looked at Nara. She was sitting on his couch, drawing pictures with colored pencils. She had drawn him and herself standing together under a red Martian sky. In the corner of the paper, she had drawn 2 sons. I want to adopt her, he said without hesitation. The process took months. Background checks, home inspections, interviews with psychologists. The council wanted to make sure Nara would be safe and well cared for. During this time, Jiwon and Nara grew closer. She learned to laugh. She learned to play games. She learned to trust that he would not leave her. One evening, as Jiwon was making dinner, Nara walked into the kitchen. She had been living with him for 4 months now. She could speak basic Korean and some galactic standard. Appa, she said. Quietly, Jiwon nearly dropped his cooking pan. Appa meant father in Korean. It was what human children called their dads. He turned around. Nara was looking at him with those bright star-like eyes. But for the first time, they were not afraid. They were full of love. Appa, she repeated, then ran to hug his legs. Jiwon knelt down and hugged her back. Tears ran down his face. This strange, wonderful little girl had chosen him to be her father, and he had chosen her to be his daughter. Shh. Yes, he whispered into her silver hair. I'm your appa now. The adoption papers were approved 3 weeks later. Nara Kim was officially his daughter. She was a citizen of Mars Colony Station Beta 7. She belonged somewhere. She belonged with him. That night, they sat on their small porch, looking up at the stars. Nara held her crystal pendant in one hand, and Jiwon's hand in the other. Are you happy? Jiwon asked. Nara nodded. I'm home, she said in her sweet musical voice. Jiwon smiled. He had found her broken and alone in the wreckage. Now she was whole. They both were. He had no idea that 10 years later, someone would knock on their door. Someone who would change everything they thought they knew about. Family and love. But that was a story for another day. 10 years had passed since that fateful day in the crash site. Jiwon Kim was now 44 with gray streaks in his black hair. He still worked as a salvage operator, but his life had changed completely. He was a father. Nara Kim was 16 now. She had grown tall and graceful, taller than Jiwon himself. Her violet skin had become more vibrant with age, and her silver hair now reached her shoulders. Her eyes still glowed like stars, but they sparkled with joy instead of fear. She was brilliant. Top student at the colony school, she spoke Korean, Galactic Standard, and 3 other languages. She could fix any machine in the colony. Everyone loved her. She was Jiwon's pride and joy. Appa, Nara called from the kitchen. The kimchi is ready? Jiwon smiled. She had learned to make Korean food better than he could. The spicy fermented cabbage was her favorite. It made her tongue tingle in a way that made her laugh. Coming, sweetheart, he called back. They lived in a small but comfortable home on the outer ring of the colony. From their window, they could see the red Martian landscape stretching to the horizon. Nara still wore her crystal pendant every day. It glowed softly when she was happy or excited. As they sat down to eat, the doorbell rang. I'll get it, Jiwon said, wiping his hands on his apron. He opened the door and froze. His breath caught in his throat. A woman stood there, tall and elegant. Her skin was the same pale violet as Nara's. Her hair was silver but darker, with small braids woven through it. Eyes glowed with the same star-like light. She wore a long black cloak that seemed to shimmer in the light, but it was her face that shocked him. It was older, tired, but it looked exactly like Nara's face. My name is Vera, she said softly. Her voice was musical like Nara's. I have come for my daughter. Jiwon's heart stopped. The words hit him like a blow to the chest. His hands began to shake. Appa, who is it? Nara's voice came from the kitchen. The woman Vera heard the voice, and her eyes filled with tears. My light, she whispered. My little light. Nara appeared in the doorway, carrying 2 bowls of rice. When she saw Vera, the bowls slipped from her hands. They crashed to the floor, but neither of them noticed. Mother, Nara whispered. The word came out in a language Jiwon had never heard before. Vera stepped forward, her arms trembling. I thought you were dead. I thought I had lost you forever. They embraced in the doorway. Nara was crying. Vera was crying. Jiwon just stood there, watching his world fall apart. This was what he had feared for 10 years. Someday someone would come for her. Someone would take her away from him. That night, Vera sat in their living room, drinking tea from one of their best cups. Story was heartbreaking. She was not just any alien. She was royalty from a planet called Lyria. Nara was a princess. Our ship was attacked by slavers, Vera explained. They wanted to capture royal children to sell them. I tried to hide Nara in the emergency pod, but we were separated when the ship exploded. She had searched for 10 years. She had grieved. For her daughter, she had never given up hope. The crystal pendant Nara wore was a royal tracker. It had finally led Vera to Mars. I do not want to take her away, Vera said, looking at Jiwon. You raised her. You saved her. You are her father. Jiwon's eyes widened. But you're her real mother. Blood does not make a family, Vera said quietly. Love does, and I can see how much you love her. Nara sat between them, holding both their hands. I do not want to choose, she said. I love you both. Vera turned to Jiwon. I have nowhere to go. My planet is still at war. I am alone. Just like she was when you found her. She paused. May I stay here? With both of you. Jiwon stared at her. He had expected anger, demand, separation. Instead, this woman was asking to join their family. I don't know, he said honestly. This is all so fast. I understand, Vera said. But please, think about it. I do not want to destroy what you have built. I want to be part of it. The next few days were strange. Vera slept on their couch. She tried to fit into their routine. She watched Nara with hungry eyes, as if trying to memorize every moment. Jiwon watched her too. He saw how she smiled when Nara laughed, how she flinched when Nara ate spicy food, how she cried when she looked at old photos of Nara's childhood. Missed so much, he said to her one evening. I know, Vera replied, but I am here now. That is what matters. Then came the night that changed everything. Nara was out late with friends. She should have been home by sunset. But the red sky was turning dark, and she was nowhere to be found. Jiwon was pacing the house, worried. Vera was at the window, scanning the landscape with her glowing eyes. Something is wrong, she said. I can feel it. They both ran outside. In the distance, they could see lights flashing. Emergency signals. Jiwon's heart sank. They ran toward the signals, calling Nara's name. They found her trapped under a damaged hoverbike, unconscious and bleeding. She had been racing with friends. When the engine failed, Nara, Jiwon cried, kneeling beside her. She's badly hurt, Vera said. But instead of panic, her voice was calm and determined. She placed her hands on Nara's chest and closed her eyes. Her skin began to glow with a soft light. Jiwon watched in amazement as Nara's wounds slowly healed. Her breathing became stronger, color returned to her cheeks. It was alien magic, but it was saving his daughter. When Nara opened her eyes, she looked at both of them. You both came, she whispered. Of course we did, Jiwon said, holding her hand. We always will, Vera added, her voice full of love. Later, as they sat around the kitchen table, Nara asked, Is it strange? Having two parents? Jiwon looked at Vera, this woman who had traveled across the galaxy to find her daughter, who had asked to stay instead of taking Nara away, who had saved their daughter's life with her own hands. It is different, he said, but different can be good. Vera nodded. Family is not about blood. It is about choice. We all choose to be together. So, you will stay? Nara asked hopefully. If your appa will have me, Vera said, looking at Jiwon. Jiwon smiled. Welcome to the family, Vera. That night they made a new bedroom for Vera. They cooked dinner together. They shared stories of their different worlds. They made plans for the future. Nara sat between them on the porch, watching the twin moons rise over the red landscape. Her crystal pendant glowed softly in the moonlight. She was surrounded by love from 2 different worlds. "I am the luckiest girl in the galaxy," she said. "I have the best appa and the best Iyama." Jiwon and Vera smiled. They had both found something they thought they had lost forever: a family, a home, future. Sometimes the best families are the ones you choose. Sometimes, if you are very lucky, your family chooses you back. The 3 of them sat under the alien stars, complete at last.